There's always been a debate. Was Bryan Habana the best wing South Africa has ever seen? If he'd worn the All Blacks black jersey, the argument would have been settled long ago. His skill, speed, and rugby sense transcended any team colors. Heyneke Meyer's move to shift him from outside center to wing wasn't just smart. It unleashed a player on a level few wings have ever reached. But Habana was far more than just tries and pace. His defensive game was fierce. Remember that bone-crunching try-saver on Lockie Turner during the 2009 Tri-Nations? Habana hit him with such force that Turner's lung was punctured. That moment showed Habana's commitment to the full 80 minutes, a physical presence that made opponents reconsider every attack. Here's the cold hard truth. If Habana had pulled on an All Blacks jersey instead of green and gold, this debate wouldn't even exist. His talent would be universally undisputed. But because he wore South Africa's colors, sometimes the global spotlight didn't shine as brightly. Yet, Habana's legacy forced the rugby world to take notice. His style mixed power with precision, speed with strategy. His every move demanded respect, not just for what he did, but how he did it. Bryan Habana wasn't just fast. The man was clocked faster than a cheetah in full sprint. But let's be real, speed alone doesn't crown you the greatest wing rugby's ever seen. So why does this debate rage on? Was he better than Jonah Lomu? Or maybe someone else? That question has fueled rugby talk rooms for years. But it's not just about who's quickest. It's about who defined what it means to be a wing in the modern era. They called him the interceptor. Opponents thought they had control, only for Habana to swoop in and snatch the ball like a hawk in flight. Those moments weren't luck. They were the product of ruthless focus, anticipation, and sheer rugby intellect. It's one thing to be fast. It's another to be smart enough to know exactly when and where to strike. Habana turned that skill into a career-long trademark. A wing who could flip games in a heartbeat. There's always been a debate about who the greatest wing in rugby history really is. Some swear by Jonah Lomu. Others say George North. But for South Africans, the talk usually comes back to one name: Bryan Habana. Was he just a fast guy who ran a bit? Or did he change the game for good? Well, let's get into why this debate won't die anytime soon, and why Habana's place at the top is far from accidental. But speed alone doesn't win matches, and Habana was about a lot more than just fast feet. Sure, Habana was blisteringly quick, faster than a runaway backie on the N1. But here's the thing, speed only gets you so far if you can't read the game. What set Habana apart was his brain as much as his legs. The way he'd time his runs, anticipate defenders, and find gaps where no one else saw them. Speed opened the door, but skill and vision pushed him through it every time. And that's why even now, when kids hear his name, they think game changer, not just a sprinter. And while we're talking about game changers, there's another angle that's worth chewing on. In South Africa during the early 2000s, if you were a kid with rugby dreams, there was only one jersey you wanted, number 11. Why? Because Bryan Habana turned the wing position into something magical. He wasn't just scoring tries. He was inspiring kids to run faster, jump higher, and believe they could be the next big thing. Even today, you'll find young players trying to mimic his moves, his style, and his flair. He left a mark beyond the pitch, in playgrounds, schools, and hearts. But being a legend isn't just about flashy tries and youthful inspiration. Injuries and doubts tried to slow him down. Some thought his best days were behind him. But Habana bounced back, time and time again. That kind of mental toughness, that's what separates the good from the great. You want to talk about true grit? This is it. A man who refused to be written off, who fought his way back onto the field, and then kept pushing the boundaries. And beyond the field, there's a side of Habana that doesn't always get the spotlight. If you are enjoying this dive into Bryan Habana's legacy, drop a like, share your thoughts, and subscribe for more rugby stories. He wasn't just a player, he was a symbol of South African rugby's golden era. Whether wearing the Bulls jersey or the green and gold of the Springboks, Habana lifted his team with an energy that inspired a generation of kids, all dreaming of donning the number 11 and sprinting down the wing. And let's not forget the man behind the legend, humble, approachable, even laughing along when a kid called him out at a tennis tournament. It's that genuine side that turned him from just a rugby player into a national treasure. But what truly sets Bryan Habana apart is the legacy he's left behind. Not just in records or highlight moments, but in the heart of every fan who remembers that lightning bolt run, that perfectly timed pass, or that tackle that made the crowd hold its breath. But that's just the surface. There's more to his story, the struggles, the setbacks, and the moments of pure grit that forged him into a true icon. The next part of his journey isn't just about what happened on the field. It's about how he became the legend we celebrate today. Habana's rise wasn't a smooth sprint down the sideline. Early on, he faced doubts and obstacles. When the Bulls signed him to play outside center next to Etienne Bofa, many questioned the fit. But Heineke saw something others missed. Moving Habana to the wing wasn't just a tactical switch, it was a revelation. That decision changed the course of South African rugby. But behind those runs was an iron will. Injuries tried to slow him down. The hamstring issues, the bruises, the battles with form. Yet Habana kept coming back stronger. His work ethic was next level, putting in the hours most wouldn't dare. This wasn't just talent, it was dedication forged in fire. And that dedication paid off. Habana didn't just shine in Super Rugby, he lit up the top 14 in France as well, adding chapters to a career that stretched across continents and eras. But more than any trophy or record, it was his influence on young players and fans that marked his true impact. And just when you think you've seen it all, the stories from those who played alongside him reveal another layer. A man who was as much a mentor as a star, lifting the team's spirit in the locker room and leading by example when the pressure was on. Habana's impact went far beyond the scoreboard. He became a symbol of what South African rugby could be. Fierce, fast, and fearless, but also humble and approachable. Despite the spotlight, he never lost sight of where he came from or what rugby meant to him. Teammates remember a guy who led quietly, earning respect not through loud words, but consistent action. Whether it was pushing the younger players to raise their game or staying late to rehab an injury, Habana's commitment was contagious. And then there's his legacy off the field. After retiring, he didn't just fade away like some do. Instead, he stayed connected, coaching, mentoring, and inspiring a new generation. His story isn't just about what he did on the pitch, it's about how he shaped the culture around him. South African fans still talk about him in the same breath as legends, and for good reason. He was the player who made wings a position to fear again. A man who could change the game in an instant, but never forgot the power of teamwork. But the journey wasn't without its bumps. The challenges Habana faced tested him in ways most never saw. From injuries to doubts over selections, he had to fight to stay at the top. That struggle only made his success sweeter and his story even more inspiring. If Habana stayed grounded, family first, community focused, and always ready to give back, his influence stretches beyond the stadiums, mentoring young talent, inspiring through charity work, and showing that being a rugby legend means more than just scoring tries. It's about lifting others as you climb. And when you look at his impact globally, Habana's influence isn't just South African pride. He's a global ambassador for rugby. From Europe to the Southern Hemisphere, wings study his style, his work ethic, and his game intelligence. He made wings everywhere rethink how the position could be played, blending speed, power, and brains into one package. So, with all this in mind, what does it all mean for the debate on who's the greatest?